Hi, my name is AAA Tanzanite. Welcome to the Titan Boardroom Podcast. So, the biggest currency in the world is happiness. I'm going to tell you why it's not health, because healthy people can be unhappy, right? Happiness is a frame of mind that allows you to find comfort in all states of life. Whether you're healthy or unhealthy, broke or rich, empowered or disenfranchised, if you're happy, it keeps you in a state of perpetual balance. Of course, if there is physical harm being done to someone, or if you're feeling physical pain, physical oppression, mental oppression, or any kind of maleficence, that may be the reason why happiness isn't there. You could be as healthy as an Olympian and still be mentally and physically oppressed by someone or something, right? So, happiness is the ultimate goal, alongside having an orbit of happy people around you. But how can people be happy when there are such dark, electromagnetic forces all around us that we can't see with the naked eye? Remember, you are occupying the same space that radio waves are occupying. Let's say you have an old school, analog radio. You plug it in, put the antenna up, and you get all these stations. Your body, your flesh, is sitting in the exact same space as all the frequencies and signals being transmitted from broadcasting antennas. You just can't decode them the way a radio does. Remember, those signals are traveling through the air as electromagnetic signals, and they require an antenna or a receiver to be decoded into sound. And that's the difference between being happy and not happy. What do I mean by that? There are electrical signals and unseen forces around you all the time. Whether it's your Wi-Fi signal, 5G, or all kinds of invisible energies, they surround you, penetrate you, and pass through you every day. Your happiness may not just be based on what other people are doing in your life. A lot of us say, if I get this kind of partner, I'm going to be happy, or if I get this kind of money, I'm going to be happy, or if I get this job, I'll be happy. But that's not true, because you don't realize your unhappiness might actually be caused by these invisible frequencies. Imagine this, you are sitting on a chair in an empty room with white walls and absolutely nothing around you. All of those frequencies are still right there with you. You can be completely by yourself, yet those signals still surround you. This is why you have to look at the Orthodox Jewish community during Shabbat. On the Sabbath, they might walk up to you with fruit, a gift, or a pastry and ask if you can turn their lights or appliances off. It seems like a strange encounter, especially if you live in New York, but those who know the culture understand. When it is time for their sacred day, they want to minimize all electricity and artificial signals so they can experience the pure presence of the divine. So, if you are in that empty white room thinking, this is where I'm going to heal and get better, that might not actually happen if you are under the influence of certain planetary forces. These planetary forces heavily influence our neurochemistry and our spiritual makeup. We have to start tuning into the planetary forces that make us joyful, forces that grow joy in the body. While Mars is associated with anger, Venus is for love, and Jupiter is for happiness. Saturn, however, is associated with darkness and negative energy. We have to recognize when these planetary forces are around us, because other people can act as conduits for them. You might think it's just you, but even your phone, your TV, or any device can be emitting a signal that jams your happiness. This is why you have to try 80 or 100 times harder to maintain a happy position in life. Even when someone is behind you calling you names, heckling you, doubting you, or disrespecting you, you have to push yourself back into a state of happiness. When you feel that needle sliding to the negative side, you have to play tug of war with it. Eventually, when you become a beacon of happiness, everyone else around you must either fall into that frequency of happiness or fall to the wayside. You become the conquering force, not their negative energy. If they don't find happiness, they will eventually disband, leave your space, or simply stop harassing you, but you must remain vigilant. As Jesus said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." When you say that, you are acknowledging that the second most valuable currency is peace. But sometimes, you can't reach peace without going through an intense internal battle first. I don't mean condoning global conflict, I mean doing the deep, challenging work within yourself to adapt to situations where peace is incredibly hard to find. You have to build up your mental discipline and protect your boundaries, because you won't get true peace in your life unless you really work hard to cultivate it and do the constant work to sustain it. Peace pairs beautifully with happiness because you cannot be happy in total chaos. You need peace, balance, serenity, and quietness. You need to find solace. Even if you have a chaotic house full of children running and playing, that is a different kind of good noise. This ties directly into how we love. If you love someone, you must be an excellent communicator, letting them know that you require peace and happiness at all times. When peace and happiness are lacking, you have to bring it to the table and explain why things are shifting. You can't just sit back and expect people to behave exactly how you want them to. People's behaviors aren't permanent fixtures, they switch according to their environment and who they are around. Today, we call this code switching, but when you become a peacemaker, you automatically unlock happiness because peace settles things. It calms the storm, brings people together, and heals them. Without peace, true happiness cannot exist collectively, because we live alongside other humans who must also reach a state of peace for everyone to vibrate at the same harmonic level. To show you how this works, look at how even dark or negative groups operate. Corrupt or evil people coalesce and find a form of peace through negotiations, alliances, and balance. You see this in mafia movies when rival families call a truce to go to war with a common enemy. They know how to put aside their differences to establish temporary peace for a shared goal. That is how you know peace is the second currency. If you don't have peace, you can't have happiness. Happiness is the ultimate goal, but it must be built on a foundation of peace. Why is happiness number one? Because you can be happy as a solitary being without needing to negotiate peace, as long as you don't interact with others. But the moment you begin commingling with other humans, mutual peace is required to keep that happiness intact. Even if you feel happy internally, if everyone around you is bickering and miserable, your happiness will eventually be tainted. We are residual creatures, we pick up the residue of those around us. Think of a colony of ants. They all move in the same direction, carrying the same physical residue of whatever environment they are traveling through, whether it's dirt particles or a rice field. They share the same microparticles and the same pheromones. It is entirely residual. In the same way, you will pick up the residue of discord around you the moment you step out of isolation and into a group. Once you move into groups, there must be peace. And if there is discord, you must become the peacemaker to master your time and space. You cannot make peace if you don't know what happiness is, because peace stands on the ground of true happiness. True happiness is kids laughing, eating good food, vibing, and having a great time. It isn't an unreachable utopia, it is a state of being you can actively choose. Unfortunately, a lot of people choose to stay in their miserable states because it helps them justify the negativity within themselves. Look at the world, powerful men cannot come together over issues affecting millions because they have made wealth, rather than happiness, their focal point. When we talk about wealth, we must speak of it within the context of happiness and peace. We don't advocate for a wealth where everyone is dark, drug-addicted, maniacal, and backstabbing. We don't judge those people either, because they are simply going through their own experience in the Kenoma, the Matrix. They are in the same prison we're in, we just prefer a different version of that prison. In the Garden of Need they say Eden, but if you scramble the words, it's need. You need money, food, water, and oxygen to survive. This survival instinct can easily breed greed. From the moment we are born, we cry out to consume, whether it's crying for a mother's milk or a bottle. We cannot grow without consuming something, which naturally wires a survival-based ego directly into our reptilian brain, the R complex in the brainstem. If you don't master these primal instincts and move deeper into your mammalian brain, negativity takes over. Evil is subtle. It doesn't always look like the Joker or the devil. Sometimes, it is simply the choice to never be happy, to never make peace, and to constantly project misery onto others. It could be a school teacher, a judge, or even the lady baking cookies down the block. If she treats one customer with warmth and another with cold discord, creating constant misery, that is a form of evil. We aren't talking about pattern recognition, we are talking about people who consistently choose to hurt others. They can have perfect hair, luxurious clothes, and immaculate presentation, causing us to think, not them. But it is. I don't usually share this, but I have to because many people think we are only showing you glimpses of physical wealth. True wealth is happiness and peace. Yes, having a massive amount of money is incredible, and that is exactly what we want you to obtain, but you have to understand the end game. This is why Hollywood and media documentaries often demonize rich people, painting them all with one brush. In reality, wealthy people vary just as much as regular people do. But when you have immense wealth, you have immense access, which quickly becomes a test of discipline. You must have the discipline to know right from wrong and to balance your choices. The only thing that will save you from making destructive decisions is the human family. If you are unhappy, you won't attract the right support system because you'll have a breeding ground of misery around you. That is when the darkness seeps in. Remember, the entire universe is predominantly darkness, with only tiny specks of light leaning against it. You cannot hide from or escape the darkness. Even the inside of our bodies is pitch black. We all carry darkness within us, and if we don't understand that, we won't know how to address it when it surfaces. That raw darkness is chaos, just like the universe. The stars you see in the night sky are dwarfed by the massive void they exist in. Let's stop viewing darkness purely as a negative force and start viewing it as the foundational canvas of the universe. What does your darkness look like? You can color beautiful, happy pictures on that dark canvas. It's like having a black sheet of paper to draw on. Some people draw nightmarish images on their canvas, while you have the power to draw beautiful, joyful scenes. Your inner universe will realize that it is a happy space. Take your pen of light and paint beautiful concepts in your mind. This is what Jesus meant when he said, "And the light shineth in the darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not." It means that if you don't recognize the light shining within your own darkness, you won't know how to redirect it. If you use that light to draw negative things, you create triple darkness, the darkness of your consciousness, your inner imagery, and your physical body. Your divine spark is waiting for you to acknowledge it. When you turn on that mental flashlight, you finally see it. There is the spark. I didn't see you shining in me. We have to wake up. I want anyone hearing this to join our Patreon, visit our website, and check out our channel links. We aren't here to judge any path, tradition, or walk of life. The first currency is happiness. The second is peace. The third is love. You cannot have happiness without peace, and you cannot have peace and happiness without love. Love is both spiritual and biochemical, which is why it sits at number 3. Peace and happiness are supernatural, steady states. But love has a strong biochemical signature, meaning people can fall in and out of it. As much as people praise love, it is often one of the most temporary currencies in the world. When I say currencies, I mean it literally, like an electrical current. Money operates the same way. There must be an electrical charge in exchange. Going back to love, it is the byproduct of peace and happiness. When a marriage gets disrupted, it is often because another planetary orbit enters the space of the husband and wife, disturbing one of them. The peace and happiness are disrupted, and the love fades if a partner gets distracted by the invader. Infidelity is proof of how temporary chemical-based love can be. People don't want to hear this because they are hooked on the fairy tale. But love is devotional, not just emotional. You have to actively devote yourself to love to stay in it. Think of how a pious woman devotes herself to shrines, novenas, and the rosary, showing up constantly to give it her all. That is devotion. It is about showing up and giving your best every single day. When love is treated purely as an emotion, it relies on a fleeting surge of oxytocin, norepinephrine, and dopamine. It behaves like a drug. The first hit is incredible, but as time goes on, the high fades, the relationship erodes, and it can end up looking like a zombie. While romantic love is highly complex and different from the love you feel for a child or a family member, it is a driving force. When people find it, their lives change for the better. But if you embark on that ship, that relationship, without a foundation of peace and happiness, you'll find yourselves in turbulent waters where one person might grab the only life raft and leave the other behind. If you are unhappy and lack peace, you will expect your partner to do the heavy lifting of making you happy. That is an exhausting, labor-intensive demand to place on another person. In a world with endless choices and instant gratification, people no longer have the patience to act as psychologists for their partners before love can even grow. You must establish peace and happiness in your own life first, without secret shadows, hidden addictions, double lives, or unresolved pasts that taint the relationship. We must learn to cultivate these 3 currents properly to achieve true wealth. Don't forget to check the link in our bio, join our Patreon, and come aboard. In this podcast, we will continue sharing deep knowledge to help our community grow. Here at BWE MP3 Subliminals, we are a family. Join us on Patreon to get exclusive access to our Wealth Mindset Subliminal albums, along with a massive collection of resources, tools, and knowledge.